Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, joined today with
Adam Talley with Talley Insurance.
We have an exciting hour for you. Katrina is sailing the seven seas, the high seas.
I thought she was at an art show.
She's in an art show sailing the high seas. Maybe that art show's on a boat. We don't know these things.
Maybe. I don't know. She called me, so I don't think she's on a boat.
Oh, no. That means she's listening in.
Yeah.
That means she's listening in, so we have to be on extra good behavior today, Adam.
Oh. Well, we'll try our best.
I've jam-packed the studio with guests.
I like that.
And our guests represent groups, and our groups represent people, and those people are business owners.
Love that.
So that's what we'll be rolling into
Okay.
as we continue along. But at the top of every hour, we like to talk about what I've been tracking 2 weeks ago was the start of the turn of the collapse of this market.
The turn of the collapse.
Turn of the collapse. We're turning into the collapse. We're on that roller coaster where it's going up, 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 up. And now we've kind of peaked, and we're waiting for, like, the back half. You know, like when you're on a roller coaster, if you sit in the front, it's a smoother ride. But you sit in the back, you get the whip.
Yeah.
We're waiting for that whip to happen, for the back end of the ride. So along those lines, with this roller coaster of the real estate market, we're looking at new listings now at 798. That is up 100 from last week.
So that's better, right?
But, those new listings are neck and neck with solds, which are down in the 600s, and our pendings are still down in the 771. So what we're still looking at here is we're still looking at the new listings. They are higher than the pendings, and they are much higher than sold. And again, what that means is for every property going on the market, there are still properties available for sale from the weeks before it.
What was the price decreases? Did you get that number?
Yeah, price decreases. It's 917. And I have to tell you, if you feel like you're chasing the real estate market.
So the price decreases. Okay.
It's huge.
I couldn't read that.
Yeah, it was up from like 800 last week. So if you're chasing the market, you've got to double chase that. So if you think like, okay, I'm going to reduce this by 5,000 because things aren't moving, you've got to do something called a CMA or a broker's price option. You've got to get those numbers where they need to be. If you're going through price decreases, especially if week after week you just keep lowering your price, you're always chasing something you're never going to obtain.
I wonder if this, I'd love to see, I know they probably can't do it. I mean, somebody could, but they wouldn't do it for us. I'd love to see where that is like localized, if it's specific to certain areas.
I'd be curious too. You know,
because that is a 4-county area that we do?
Yeah, it is Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, and Hernando. And Hernando does bring down some of the numbers, such as median price or average price, because it's cheaper to buy real estate up there. But, I mean, most of this stuff's happening in the 3-county area. The Hillsborough, the Pinellas, the Pasco. Again, this is all single-family homes. I would love to do one.
Well, I was more thinking, like, by neighborhood even. Or some, like, is South Tampa still strong? Or is that where we're seeing a lot of decreases? Maybe it was overpriced. If there's more nuanced reasons to it other than maybe a complete market, collapse, as you so elegantly put it.
I'm just saying we're at this top of the curve, but I mean, if you want more...
Start with the doom and gloom off the bat here.
I got to be picketing with I got to join the writers on strike, only mine's going to be the end is near, end of real estate market here in Tampa. But if you want some zip code specific information, you can always text 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775. You can look up, text your zip code or whatever zip code you're curious in. We'll give you the market stats for just that zip code.
Okay, so we can do that.
We can, and we can subscribe you so you get those stats every single week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so you can get once a week, you can be sipping your morning coffee, kava, matcha, tea, mimosa, brewski. You can be sipping your white wine, and you can read about how the market has turned. We announced it 2 weeks ago as the start. We were the first people to break that news. Every time there's a market trend, we are the first people to break it to you. Well, we are because they take an extra month for a realtor to catch some data.
I know. Mm-hmm. So, what would if you saw something change here? What would make it positive? If we're looking to next week and we're like, oh, maybe we were prognosticated a little too doom and gloom.
I mean, we're 3 weeks in, so I mean, when new listings remain above pendings, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
When solds are lower than both of them, that means, like I said, for every new listing on the market, not all of them are under contract, and for all those under contract, not even 80% of those sold.
So, but how wouldn't we be getting closer to a balanced market then? Not a 2007-8 collapse?
Oh, yeah. No, we're not going to see a 2007-8 collapse. There's too much money coming in from South America. There's too much money coming in from New York, Ohio, those states. COVID restrictions are popping back up in these other states, so that should give us another boom down here in Florida where, because we're the sunshine state and everyone's outside in 95-degree weather, that we won't get COVID.
I like that.
Actually, no one's outside in the 95-degree weather.
I did see somebody running outside with a mask on in 95-degree weather the other day.
You know what? I have to admire people who go for a run in the morning. It's great when your day cannot get any worse.
I ran this morning. What are you talking about? I'm having a great day.
Your day will not get any worse.
Oh, it's going to get even better. It's awesome.
It is an awesome experience.
So, you were probably up, though. It was 5 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
No.
No, you're not running?
I'm not running. I did my Twitch live stream at
Twitch live stream.
at 2 a.m. last night. If you want to follow me on Twitch, it's the Leo Kane. The Leo Kane. But
and what do you live stream? I'm just curious.
Video games.
Video games.
Yes.
Which video game are we currently live streaming?
Currently, it's a mixture between Destiny 2 and Stardew Valley. So Destiny 2 would be a first-person space shooter where you're shooting things on various planets throughout the system, and Stardew Valley is a farming simulator.
Okay.
They couldn't be any more opposite from each other.
Fair enough.
Yes, couldn't be any more opposite.
So back to selling houses.
You heard about the collapse. Speaking of this, I mean, even Katrina's starting to feel the punch. I've got 5 listings to talk about at the top of the fourth segment. We've got 5 listings.
That's good.
Well, that is, but that's like a record. We haven't had 5 listings in my grubby little hands from her in over a year?
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a good thing.
But these all have come into her foray of being listed this week, though, so it's a little different.
Okay.
So it's not like there's 5 listings that we're talking about week to week. These are 5 brand new listings, and we'll have to find out if there's any open houses on these.
I'm sure there are, right?
I don't know. She's out of town.
We got Maddie doing it.
We do, and I'm going to get Maddie to actually give you the listings.
Okay. Some of those are probably her listings anyways.
Oh, she has her own listings?
I'm sure. Yeah. Got some good ones in there. Affordable ones. What's our prices?
We're going to have to wait for that.
You got to tease it.
Well, we have 5 listings. That's the tease.
Okay. Fair enough.
The tease is we have 5 listings. And if you're curious about these 5 listings, you can text the word listings to
813-377-2775.
What was that?
813-377-2775. Hey, I got it right this week.
You did. So the other thing that we will do is we will continue to monitor this market shift. Now, I know we talked doom and gloom. What are we looking at? Are we looking at 30, 40% price reductions? No. We're looking at like 5 to 10%, just a slight normalization. So on that roller coaster, maybe the next dip isn't as steep as everyone's thinking.
Gotcha. So you're saying maybe if you buy your house in 2020, and you're probably still seeing growth over what you initially paid for it.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
However, that's a little misleading because like a good stock, you don't actually get the profit until you cash in.
Correct.
So homes are...
Well, I'm just saying if people were nervous, they would still be cashing in and probably still be making a profit if that was their intention.
True.
If they had it for that long.
Yeah, with lower interest rates back then, you probably...
Not like you bought it in 2005 and now you're trying to sell it in 2008, right? That would be a loss for sure.
Yes, but if you bought it in 2005, 2006 at the height of the market, we are actually above those numbers. So if you held on to it for 18, 17.
Well, I was talking about in comparison to that time with the last couple of years here.
Yeah, but you had to hold on for it to 18 years.
No, I'm saying if you held on to the current house that you bought in 2020. Right, for 3 years, it'd be different than if you bought a house in 2005 and tried to sell it in 2008.
Yeah, but you had a house from 3 years ago. Why would you want to sell it?
That doesn't matter. I'm just saying that the market is still way above where it would have been even 4 years ago.
Yeah,
so even a dip is still fine.
Yeah, a dip is fine, but if you sold that house from 3 years ago and you reset your amortization table and you're going from 3% interest to 9% interest,
right,
you wouldn't want to do that.
Now, do you think if the interest rates went down, you'd see these numbers go reverse pretty quickly?
I would agree with that. I think that they finally found that sweet spot to curb spending by rising interest rates. Mm-hmm. So I think if we dip down below that, we're just going to be right back to where we were.
Okay. Do you think there's a sweet spot interest rate wise? I mean, there was like 2% back in a couple years ago was really, really low. Do you think like 4.5 would generate a little bit but leave other people not doing it?
I think between 4 and 6.
Okay.
4 and 6 would probably
a good Sarah Cricky question.
Yeah, excellent Sarah Cricky question. But between 4 and 6, we should see more spending. Again, you have to think to curb inflation, you've got to raise interest rates at least 5%, and they've gone overboard on that. But we'll talk more when we come back about what you can do as a business owner to power yourselves up and make yourself stronger in the marketplace. And that's 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775. And as always, I have a groaner for you this morning as a dad joke.
Oh, God.
Make sure you're not going anywhere. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm so excited for you listening in on the Facebook Lives, on the YouTubes. We'll be right back. Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk, and I've got the pressing question for Adam this morning.
Lay it on me.
Adam, what's the difference between a well-dressed man on a unicycle and a poorly dressed man on a bicycle?
I don't know.
Attire.
For more good jokes like that, 813-377-2775. Text Leo. I will give you his personal address and phone number. You can text him all hours of the night. You know, he loves that kind of stuff. So
all hours of the night. You can also find me on Twitch at the Leo Kane. But yeah, I'm allowed one dad joke, one groaner. If I get silence, if I get crickets, I've hit my mark.
Well, how's that?
That's great.
Okay.
So, let's jump into this.
Did you want to do an engineering tip for our folks or an inspection tip?
I just want to jump right into it.
Okay, let's do it. Fire away.
Jump right into it. We'll do an insurance tip at the top of the next segment.
Oh, good.
So this show today, I really wanted to focus us on the business.
The business.
Since we can't talk about the real estate because it's doom and gloom, pitchforks and fire and brimstone. So let's talk about the business. You're a business owner. You're just starting out. You are a business owner, you're very successful, you got 20 to 50 employees. There are groups out there that help you get to the next level, help you elevate from being a business starting out to your first employee, to your 10th, to your 20th, 50th, 200th. And we have two gentlemen to explain the differences between their groups and how they can help you, the business owner. To my Adam's immediate left, we have the man from Vistage. We have Rick. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Rick Morganweck. I'm a Vistage chair for Vistage, Florida, and my area is here in Tampa Bay area. There's about 6 or 7 of us down here in the Tampa Bay area running groups, and I'm very happy to be here this morning.
Wonderful. And then to his left, we have a returning guest. Always a pleasure. Spencer from BNI. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
You bet. Spencer Reynolds with BNI Tampa. We cover the geographical area of Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. We've got 52 groups, about 1,500 members, and help with a lot of business. In the last 12 months, we're up to $110 million in the Tampa Bay area that we've helped small business owners grow.
And BNI is a part of you're a part of a larger organization, right? So
global.
What's the international numbers these days?
We're over 300,000, almost 11,000 chapters in 79 countries. So we're coming in, we're very close to doing $2 billion a month in business around the world, which is astounding.
It's the GDP of a small country.
It's larger than 100 of the smallest countries.
Fair enough.
So BNI is going to be a networking group, and Vistage is going to be a CEO group, CEO mentoring group, CEO coaching group. What kind of group am I?
Yeah, so Vistage it's really about business leaders. We kind of have some bars to enter as far as the size of the company. But it's really about the business leaders stepping outside of the day-to-day and rolling up their sleeves and working on the business versus in the business. And BNI is a lot about business development. We're about a different kind of business development.
Absolutely.
We're about leadership development. How do you kind of look around the corner with your company and prepare for what's coming down the road?
What are your size standards that you're looking for?
So in any particular with size of the company?
Yeah, because didn't you say you have some limitations or some floors?
Yeah, they're guidelines, but typically a CEO or business owner, the size of the business kind of starts around $5 million and goes up from there. Usually about 20 employees on up. And that doesn't mean that we don't have something for, but the core of Vistage is really the CEO group, and that's what I'm talking about. There's also a key executive group, which is usually the direct reports and sometimes smaller businesses that fit into a key group. So there's something for everyone, but really it's about not so much about networking, it's about development, leadership, making better decisions, and so forth.
So that's, I wouldn't say the opposite in BNI, because you focus on organizations of all sizes and you don't just have C-level people in your groups.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got the small business owner. You may have a landscaper that's a one-man show, and that may be, the car detailer who's a one-man show. But we also have those who have large organizations where, we've got heating and AC contractors that may have 15 or 20 trucks out there that are doing the size of what he's talking about. And having a peer advisory group is just so important when it comes down to, having those opportunities.
Yeah, and I do, because I've been in BNI before. I think it's a great, I think it's a great organization, a great opportunity, especially if you're starting out, because there's a lot of educational pieces that go into it that, especially if you're, say, like that one-man landscaper.
Yes.
You're starting a dream and you don't quite know, you don't have all the other steps in there to do it. So I've certainly even seen it firsthand where there's been people that have grown from that one-man show to having some staff, having a location,
Absolutely.
That kind of stuff. So
it's like what he was just saying as far as having the opportunity to really work on your business. When it comes to BNI, most of our people have never thought of that part yet. They've been working, right? They're working hard, making their business work, and then they grow into that stages, and that's where that next stage really comes in, where I'm not just thinking about myself and a few people. Now I'm providing for a group of people and a lot of income. That's a different stage.
Right.
So, Rick, at what point would a business owner decide or need to look into, they'll probably start off in a group like BNI and then realize that they need to grow into something more focused while still doing BNI. So what is that inflection point for a business owner should be looking at for it's time for me to actually surround myself with just CEOs and just really focus on my business once a month?
Yeah, for sure. It's I think a good indicator is when you're no longer the chief everything officer, when you're starting to run your business through your team that you've put in place. That's usually where things start to get a little complicated, and you can have a great dream to start a business and build it, but at a certain point you need to multiply your efforts by hiring a team and putting the right structure, right people in place, the right processes, and that's usually where there's a little bit of ambiguity around how to do the next step. And so I think what Vistage is great for is kind of that decision support. How do you get the diverse perspectives of a lot of people who have already done it? Kind of our model is, we have one-on-one coaching. As a chair, every one of my members, I'll coach them also during the month. But the real magic is in when we get together, 10 to 16, 18 people in a room. And if you have a question, if you have a strategic decision you're working on, you put it on the table. Now, one-to-one as a coach, I can help with that, but I'm nowhere as smart as 18 people sitting around the table that can chime in on that thing that you're thinking about doing. And that's where the real magic is.
So is that, I see it's one of the questions on here is like, how is it different from coaching? Would you say it's the collaborative effort on that?
Yeah, I think it's just that. So like coaching is one-on-one, and if I'm an expert in something, maybe I can coach you along the way. And if it's more generic, like a leadership coach or something, then I've have a lot of things that I've done that. But this is where the breadth of things that you can put on the table in a Vistage group is just, there's no end to it. Everything from about cash flow and how to get new business and where to go, how to take your market, to investment, to even personal things that are standing in the way of your business. It's not uncommon for someone to put their own personal issue on the table and we're working on it as a group because it's blocking them from making that next step in their business.
So
we work through that.
How is that going to be different from BNI, which is a 30 to 50 person group? I mean, it seems like just with a lot more people, you'll get a lot. In my mind, it would be a lot less individual attention. So how do you stand out, or what is your business owner looking to get from that?
Yeah, they're really looking to get business, right? They're looking, how do I make the cash register go ka-ching? Or how do I swipe more cards? Right? That's where we really help that business owner who's going, I need to grow. Once they've grown to a point, that's where you need peer advisory. I mean, The Power of Peer is a great book that the owner of Vistage wrote. I personally have read that, got a group together of other BNI franchisees from around the country, because we don't do that level of income, but it made a lot of sense. So I think that would be a great stepping stone for some business owners is, I'm growing, my business is going well, I'm making money, and I come to a BNI chapter, and I grow inside of having referrals in the room. And so that's really, it's about all of us identifying who's your perfect client and then, helping you find those connections. That's BNI's stronghold. Is we're excellent at training small business owners, but it's really based on how do I get more business? How do I help those relationships grow? Then you take it to another level.
So I'm a small business. I'm strapped for time. I'm wearing many hats. What kind of time commitments am I looking at? Like for your group, Rick, what kind of time commitment am I looking at per month?
It's a great question. It's we meet a full 8-hour day once a month, and every member and I will meet together for about 2 hours. So it's about a 10-hour a month commitment. And, that 8 hours that we meet together, that's really more, all of these things are investments. They're not necessarily, the cost or what I'm spending my time doing. It's an investment in our growth and our future. And if you think about, like I said, you get together with a group and we have speakers that come in, subject matter experts. We process strategic decisions together. We kind of look around the corner, and that's really where the beauty of the group comes in.
Same question for you, Spencer, because if I'm going to be members of both
Yeah.
groups, what am I signing up for time-wise?
I tell people BNI is going to take a minimum of 5 hours a week. You're going to go to a meeting for 2 hours, showing up early, staying late. You're going to have a meeting with one-to-one with another member to get to know their business and how to help them. You're going to have an hour of education and learning to become a better networker. And then you're going to spend that final hour out generating referrals, helping the people in your referral network that you're trying to help grow their business. They're doing the same for you.
Yeah, so when we come back from the break, we'll continue to do a deeper dive on these two groups and how you could join one of the two. If you're interested in these networking groups or mentoring groups, 813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775. We're here with Rick from Vistage, Spencer from BNI, Adam from Tally Insurance. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm Adam Talley with Tally Insurance. And before we dive back into our different groups that we're discussing here, I want to do our insurance tip of the week. And this week I want to focus on Citizens specifically. Right now they have 1.5 million policyholders, so guaranteed most of the people that are listening to us probably have a Citizens policy.
It's not. I thought the number would be higher, 1.5, because you got to think, what's the population of Florida?
I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. 1.5 million policyholders. What they're doing now, and we've talked about it before, but it's really, really important that you pay attention to this, is they're doing a lot of depopulation. And what that is that's where, they will sell a block of policies to certain carriers, right? The carriers don't get to choose the policies, but they'll get a block. You as the consumer get to choose if you want to, sometimes, get to choose if you want to stay with Citizens or switch to one of these other carriers. Could be Slide, could be Verd, could be any number one of them. American Integrity, I believe, is doing it again now. Sometimes it's a good thing to not be with Citizens. I mean, there's some positives there, but you need to open up that envelope from Citizens, because what happens is they're going to give you they're going to show you what this other carrier's potential renewal premium could be, and they're going to show you what the Citizens one will be. Now, if the potential one from this other carrier is within 20% of the Citizens one, unfortunately, you don't have a choice. You're switching to this new carrier. But if it's more than 20% higher than your Citizens policy or your potential Citizens renewal, they'll give you a choice. To either stay with Citizens or to leave Citizens. Sometimes the renewal from these other carriers might be twice as much as your Citizens. So it's very important that you respond, because if you don't respond, the assumption is you want to be depopulated and you will be shooed away to one of these other carriers. Then you got to requalify. It turns out to be a big mess. So not opening up your mail could cost you thousands of dollars.
So that gives me a good question. If you have an older home, 20 plus years, you'd be required to get a 4-point to switch insurance. If you're being depopulated, is that still a requirement?
No. So they have to take you as is. And they can't offer you less coverage. So, it has to be equal to what Citizens has been offering you.
Now, there's a threat that Citizens can raise their rates year to year by 40%. So you're telling me if I'm within 20%, I have to take it. But if I'm within 40%, am I going to be equal the next year?
Citizens, I think it's like 14% is their max. Now, the thing with Citizens, and this is one of the reasons why you may want to consider it or talk to your agent, is there's always a potential for an assessment with Citizens. So that would be like, let's say this hurricane that we were talking about off air, that's not a hurricane yet, but potential could hit the state.
Oh, definitely going to hit Florida. Definitely.
If it hits, we got really lucky on the last one. It hit a pretty much the least populated path it could go. if a storm comes across Miami or Orlando or Tampa or Jacksonville, Citizens isn't going to be able to pay all those claims, and they're going to have to do an assessment. And that assessment could be up to 45% of your premium. So if you have a $2,000 policy, that's $900, right? And now, they've never had to do it, and I hope they never do. And just because they do it doesn't mean it's going to be 45%. It could be 2%, but that is what's looming out there. So it's certainly a conversation that you need to have with your insurance agent.
And now, you guys, I know, Spencer, Rick, during the break, you were teasing me about being all doom and gloom. I'm talking about theoretical doom and gloom. Adam's talking about actual doom and gloom. Actual doom and gloom. Being depopulated.
Yes, depopulated.
That doesn't sound like a good term. I never run across a thing like, I'm being depopulated today. That just doesn't sound like something that you want.
There's some good to it. Like I said, some people that couldn't qualify for these other carriers before, now you don't have to be with Citizens, right? Citizens is, they passed a law in December to where they're going to require that all of their policyholders, regardless of flood zone, have a flood insurance policy. Well, you don't have that requirement with anybody else, right? And the flood insurance policy, this is where a lot of people are getting hung up on too. It either needs to match your Citizens coverages or be at the maximum of the National Flood Insurance Program. So a lot of people that got flood because it was a requirement only got building coverage. They didn't get the contents coverage. Well, now they got to buy the contents coverage for another $1,000. So there's some cost that goes into it. So it's certainly a conversation worth having.
Well, and to be real, he's talking about things. You can always take your money and pay more and go to another company.
That's true.
You can.
Whereas you're talking about, right, this opportunity where you're all going down and you're all going to have...
Right.
Okay, I need to switch this conversation back to networking. Anyway, so we are joined with...
business growth,
yes.
self-growth.
I'm helping you, the listener, increase your business. So we've got Spencer from BNI. He's a networking group. And we've got Rick from Vistage, which is a peer group, CEO, mentoring / coaching group. Now, I'm going to ask the tough questions. Like, you both represent groups that have multiple chapters in the area. One could be 7 or 8 chapters in the area for Rick, and one could be, what, you said 40 to 50 chapters? 52 chapters. Yeah. So how does someone, or how do you select, or what's the process? I'm thinking of joining one of your 2 groups. Do I just show up to a meeting? Do I just pick a chapter at a website? What's my next step? Let's start with Spencer.
What's first step, really?
Yeah, first step, definitely go bnitampa.com and be able to look at the different chapters. We have a map that will show you, here's all the different areas. The best is always to be closest to your home. Now, that's going to depend on your classification. What you do as a profession may not be available in a chapter close to home. But if you can be close to home.
What do you mean by not available?
Well, we have one person per profession. So we don't allow more than one plumber or one real estate agent or one of any classification to be in any chapter. So we focus all of our referrals on one spot, one person. So if your spot is already taken, you've got to find another spot. And the larger chapters that are in areas, we have some that are small, some that are large. Some people love being in a big chapter. We have one in Clearwater that's one of the largest in the country with over 100 members. They do $16 million worth of business. We also have several that are in the 10-15 range where they're a small group of people, but they all make money together, and so they love being close and tight-knit. So there's a lot of different opportunities in that. But, that's why going online, looking at that, and then reaching out to us at bnitampa.com. We've got an online chat there. We've got phone numbers on the website. That's where we can help you actually identify the right one, because going through 52 to try to figure out which one has a landscaper seat available, it's kind of a little tedious, where we can help with that.
Now, is yours seat specific as well?
We are seat specific. There's no 2 people from the same industry in the same group.
Okay.
And
well, that's a little different. I mean, you said not same profession, but you're going same industry.
Yeah, it's guidelines again. So we work through it, and really, what it comes down to is the what's important in a Vistage group is that you trust the people in your group. You have to be willing to be open, and if your competitor's sitting across from you, you can't really do that. So that's why it's a guideline. We work through that, and if I'm bringing a new member into a group, then I'll always introduce them to the group ahead of time. I invite them to a meeting to meet the group, and the group to meet them, and then we make a decision from that.
Okay.
Right?
So both of your groups involve coming to a meeting, either physical or digital or virtual or whatever we're calling it nowadays. And then the person gets to make a decision on whether or not they want to join.
So for Vistage, just like you gave your website, so we're vistageflorida.com. You can find a lot of the information right there. But for us, it all starts with an initial conversation with the chair. So if you go to the site, or if you meet me or anyone out of my cohort out in the community, we can talk to you about what it takes and kind of find the right place for you. And if I don't have an open seat in my group, I'm very happy to find you a chair in one of the other Vistage groups around that is right for you.
So I'm thinking, as a business owner or just someone starting out, I would need business. I need my cash register flying fast. I'm going to go pay-per-click spending, and I'm going to have leads the next day. And I know both of your groups on ROI, or return on investment, is not an overnight thing. So, sure. Rick, about how long does it take after a business owner joins? And let's just say we take the average business owner, not your rock star and not your failure, high school dropout. What does it take an average business owner to actually see an increase in their business? And then the same question for Spencer.
Yeah, so what I would say is, day one, you're going to get something out of every meeting that you go to. If you string together a few meetings and you haven't got any value, you're not going to be a satisfied member. And I tell you, on average, our members are members for about 5.5 years.
That's going to be one of my next questions.
So yeah, they usually find the value, they find the ROI, and if I ask my members, what do you get out of it? We just had a conversation just recently, and every single day that he comes to a meeting, on his drive home from the meeting, he always reflects on a thing that he learned something new in that meeting, and the thing that you learn, might have $1 million impact on your business. So that's where the day one is
so
the answer.
I have a follow-up question to that. So you say they stay for about 5.5 years, right?
Sure.
Is it just like they almost like a graduation, like they've learned all that they can learn, or
no?
What's the
here's what I would say is, there are, like, I have members that have been 10 plus years.
Okay.
In my group, I know of members that have been there for 25 years. That
Those
are members
people need
of
to
Vistage.
sell.
And that's what it comes down to. So a lot of times, there's an event in a lot of business owners' life where they either stay on during their earn-out period, or they go away and count their money, and that's sometimes where the end of the road is.
They
for
kind of graduated, but the business has graduated to.
So I was a member.
They reached their goals, right?
Yeah. So I was a member when I was out in Utah, and when we took out an investor and I cashed out of the company, if I were to start another business, I would either be a Vistage member, or I would be a chair like I am now. So that's kind of what. It's you don't really time out. It's a matter of personal choice and where you're at in your life.
I like his attitude. He said, if I were to start another business, knowing his requirements are being $5 million and up, he's like, I would just join a chapter. He's going to go out the gate, make the $5 million. I like that.
I love the commitment.
Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of funny, but there's in a typical CE group, what we call the CE group for business owners. There's three kind of people that are typically in there. There's a person who started their business. It's a family business. They've been running it, and they're thinking about generational, how I'm going to do this for the next 30 years of my career, of my life. There's also serial entrepreneurs. So I have people in my group that they've built and sold a business, and they're on their way back up in another one. Like I said, these are guidelines. So they may not be at $5 million yet, but they're well on their way, and they know how to get there. I'll take them into a group. We also have hired gun CEOs. So those are typically the three kind of people that are in a CE group.
So same question. The question was, I'm joining one of your two groups. How long is it going to be before I can see a change to my top line? I guess you would be top line, Spencer, and Rick would be bottom line. So how long would it take for me to see a top line change?
It's really going to depend on the type of business that you do. If you're going to have a financial planner that's got to disclose all your financial information, there's going to be a longer time cycle on that.
Whereas building the trust.
Right. Yeah. You have a florist in the group, you could probably buy flowers next week and not be too worried about it. But we have a 10-10 guarantee that if you don't make 10 times your money back in 10 months, we give you your second year on top. So we absolutely put our money where our mouth is. Our average chapter member right now, out of 1,500 inside of the Tampa Bay area, our average seat value is $76,000 per year per seat. So there's a lot of money that's created per member inside of that.
And that doesn't matter what profession you're in?
No. Well, obviously that's the median, right?
Yeah.
So there are people who are...
I love median. I hate averages. I love medians.
It's a median.
So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about these listings. I'm going to try and curtail a mini Katrina in here so you can have a nice female voice on the air talking about listings. And when we come back, that's what it's going to be about. We got 5 listings, and we'll do a little decompression, little recap with our 2 guests, Spencer and Rick. We can be reached at 813-377-2775. Don't go anywhere.
So how
Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection, bringing you my favorite part of the hour. That is the Beryl Engineering and Inspection sponsored segment that Adam Talley also sponsors for the KW listings. Now, we're also going to find out, ask the tough questions about open houses. I've been teasing these listings all day, and I think we have a rental in there as well.
Yes, we do. We actually have 4 properties that are for sale and then 1 for rent.
So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm so excited. We are all over Pasco and Hillsborough County right now with these listings, and I want to make sure that none of these listings appear on next week's show.
Yes, me too. So up first we have in Land O'Lakes 2424 Painter Drive. That's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom pool home, priced at $475. Just under 2,000 square foot. That one's a great property. We just had an open house on it last weekend. So
What city's that in?
that's in Land O'Lakes,
Okay.
Florida,
Yeah,
34639.
And I love this house. It's 1 story. It's got a hip roof. It's low to the ground.
Oh, hip roof. That's good for insurance.
It's good for insurance. It's great against the wind because it's low to the ground. It's going to be less maintenance in the long run.
And then we have one actually in Pinellas is next. It's at 527 Zanesville Street, South in South Pasadena, Florida, 33707. This is also a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, listed at $500,000. The square footage heated is 1828 on this one.
And this is a mid-century modern.
Yes.
So we're
Yeah, it's built in.
1954. So if you're looking for an older home that's been around that can withstand your storm events, also hip roof, also 1 story, another great find. Is South Pasadena going to be in a flood zone?
No, it does not look like this one is in a flood zone.
Even better. I can live near the water without being in the water.
Oh, yeah. And then the next one we have is in Manatee County. It's at 6702 DeVesta Loop, Palmetto, Florida, 34221. This home is great. It's got a split floor plan, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, listed at $515,000. The heated square foot on this one is 2,350.
Love this one because not only is it a 2018 build,
Yes.
it's got a 3-car garage, which means you can turn part of the garage into your shed or your I'm about to get divorced room that you need to sleep in.
Okay.
When you do inspections, how many I'm about to get divorced rooms have you seen?
Well, one of the largest reasons to put your house on the market is either going to be you've changed your jobs and there's been a change in your living situation. Either your spouse, unfortunately, has passed on, your kids have moved out of the home, or you're in the process of getting a divorce.
Sad.
Yeah, and then so the next one is
Gloom all
in,
day. There's a theme.
there's no transition right for that.
Run with it.
and the next one we have is in Hillsborough County at 5905 Falconwood Place in Lithia, 33547. I'm actually really surprised this one's still on the market. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, split floor plan as well, and this one has a private pool. And the pool heater is less than a year old, so that's very nice. This one's listed at $600,000, and
I love this one as well. I mean, we're in Lithia. Lithia Pinecrest is a beautiful region. It's a little more remote, but you also have Fishhawk there if
Yep,
you want your city
right in
feel.
Fishhawk.
Easy to get to Orlando, Kissimmee, Lakeland. Lakeland's a great place to visit from Lithia.
waterfront as well. It's got a nice pond in the back.
Oh.
And it's got a pool, so this is a keeper, and I'm
Oh, yeah.
surprised it's still on the market.
Me too. And the last one we have is a rental. This one's in Brandon, so Hillsborough County, at 302 Lake Parsons, Unit 106 in Brandon, Florida, 33511. So
Real close to the Tally Insurance headquarters. So you could rent this and then come get your renter's insurance in person, which never happens.
Come rent your lakefront condo, 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It's right now monthly for $1,400.
Ooh, can't even find that in.
I know.
Tampa.
I love this
Yes.
as well. I mean, if you're just starting out,
Wow.
you've just got a nice tech job that you're working
Nice
in Ybor
tech
City, or you're working for Progressive over in Brandon. This is a great place for you to actually live. And then when you get burned by Progressive, you can get a job from Tally Insurance directly.
Alrighty.
You know, there's still work from home. They haven't. They just never went back.
Oh, they never went back. So the building's empty?
If you drive by it, it is a ghost town, my friend.
Oh.
Look at that.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's in Florida. It's more like, East Coast almost, with as far out there as it is. But, some people like that kind of stuff, Pat. Yeah. It's more cow pasture adjacent, if you will,
So back to our guests. Thank you very much for giving the listings.
Of course.
Beryl Engineering and Inspections, very proud to bring you these listings.
Oh, did we say if any of these had open houses?
They don't, unfortunately, this weekend, but we are planning to get all, if they last throughout the weekend.
They will not last.
We'll plan to get an open house next weekend, but
Okay.
They won't
Hopefully we're not talking about an open house next week.
yeah, or you can call or text here and we can get you in for a private showing.
Ooh. You mean 813-377-2775?
Yeah, that number.
That's 813-377.
377-2775.
I've been doing this for 10 years.
I got to constantly look at the number. There's too many sevens. It's easy to throw the two around. But let's go back to our guests. We've got Spencer from BNI.
Yeah.
We've got Rick from Vistage. What is the one thing you want our listeners, other than your contact information, to take away from what you're trying to get across?
For me, if you're looking for business growth, BNI is the way to do it. It's the local provider that you're going to find local people you can trust. If you're looking for services, honestly, even if you're not a business owner and you're listening to this and you're saying, who do I trust? How do I trust? We have a system that we actually vet people. So you're not just going to get the shyster who comes in and takes your money and runs away. These people show up every week. They look in your eyes so that you can trust the people that are in the room. So as you have people who want to grow their business and those who go, hey, I need other service providers, can't find a better group than having a vetted group of people you can trust.
So, what I would say is this. You referred something earlier to BNI is about the top line and Vistage is about the bottom line. What I would say is really our members are really there looking at business value as well. So it's not just about what you're ringing the bell, but it's also about how you create value in your organization and kind of set yourself. Look at it as an investor. How would an investor look at your business? That's kind of what we look for here. So, I think the main reason that anyone would join Vistage is just because they are at the point in the development of their business where they're trying to get the answers to their questions to get to that next level. And this is a great place to do it.
And then what about you? Why would they come to you, Adam?
For insurance, or are we talking for Rotary, or what are we talking? What are we talking
for insurance?
About here? Oh my God, prices are extremely high these days, and it's always good to get a second opinion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then people would come to us because their home just got hit by a flood or a hurricane or a fire and it's falling down, or a drunk driver has crashed through your garage.
I actually have a commercial building where a car ran into it not too long ago. I did not know I could send them to you.
Yeah, send them to us. We can help you with your design plans. We can help make you back to what we call pre-loss conditions. We're always about setting you up for success. We're about being there when you're in those doom and gloom moments and helping build up. Make sure you tune in every week here at Tampa Home Talk, 813-377-2775. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Make sure you smash the subscribe button on the YouTubes. We'll be here every week to make sure that we are your premier choice as a Dave Ramsey LP for the real estate market here at Tampa Home Talk. Christina will be here back next week. She'll give me my full critique on how well we did without her. And welcome home.